Hello, and welcome back, everyone, to War on the Sea. After a rather long hiatus, I must say, have been on holiday. Went to the other end of the country. Very nice time indeed. I hope you've all been good in the break, but we're now back and we are looking at, I think, retreating from the Guadalcanal and Florida Islands area with our task force, the Hammer. That is, of course, to restock our ammunition, and I think we're going to be letting go of our New Orleans for the minute, simply because it did take a torpedo or two in the previous battle, and that is absolutely nasty. Don't want to carry on with that sustained damage there. We will look at any other ships. I think we're basically okay. I might swap out a destroyer or two, maybe. We shall see. We do have command points available, but I do want to really use those to get another minor task force going, I think. Let's have a look in the dockyard for our options. We do still have a few destroyers in the dockyard. That's absolutely fine. We've got 2 days to wait for the Portland to be ready as well. That would be a nice reimbursement there. We'll use the command points from that to get perhaps just another one. We do have 2 weeks to wait for our Colorado to come back out. So it's going to be quite a while until we're seeing that once again, I should think. How are we looking on the supplies over here? Got some engineering and fuel to upgrade Rennell Island very slowly. We're going to be upgrading that to level 3 so that we can not have to make the massive trek to New Hebrides, of course, when we want to rearm our surface task forces. And we're well on the way there. We just need a couple more levels for that. And then we'll be thinking about true invasions. I'm not sure we will be invading Guadalcanal itself for quite some time, though. And that's simply because I want to see some more action. And it's possible that Guadalcanal, as with the base game unmodded, once you've taken that, the enemies do calm down a little bit. I'm not entirely sure with this mod. It might well be the case that once we take Guadalcanal, they get more aggressive. So we'll see about that. If anyone knows about this mod in the comments, please do let me know. By the by, I am trying to denoise my audio because I'm sat right on a main road. So please do let me know what the audio quality is like for the upcoming videos this week. Just nice to have some feedback from your perspective. But enough of that, let's get going. I think we'll come back down, wait a couple of days to get a new task force out, and we'll see what we're doing from there, shall we? Righty, so the time is 20 to 11 hours. And we're not looking too bad. We managed to get out of Guadalcanal and Florida Islands, so we shouldn't be seeing any aircraft chasing us, especially because of the nighttime hours now. But we do see above Rennell Island a scout plane there. We have dropped off our supplies. We are able to upgrade that. That's absolutely brilliant. So we need a few more supplies and, of course, stuff over here now. A few more resources to get that to a level 3, and that'll be brilliant. Now, some good radar coverage, though. What is a little surprising is that we do have some possible torpedo bombers coming over to the New Hebrides, so we'll have to watch out for those. Send out some scouts, I think, later in the next day, so that we can have a decent scout around here. I'm wondering if that is still the problem, just extremely long-range airfield-based planes, as we have seen it previously in certain playthroughs. I have to see, though, need to be wary of carriers, of course. Always wary of carriers. And this is rather an interesting development. We definitely have a carrier about. We've just seen some fighters, massive group of fighters, come from a northwards position above the Solomon Islands. If we follow this through, they are coming down towards our south now. Might have to look at launching out perhaps some Casalinas for now. Not going to arm them with anything, just need them for the endurance and the spotting. We'll bring that over here. Going to use as much of their fuel as possible. And we'll send out multiple Casalinas, of course. I think that will do for this particular plane. Send out another. And we won't arm that with anything just yet. They will likely be shot down if there is a carrier about, of course. But we just need the eyes in this area because there's clearly something about. It'd be nice to know so that we can catch that later on, especially since this is so close to the New Hebrides, and we have, of course, been neglecting our airfield over in the Australian bases over here in the Cairns. We do have, that's the wrong one, in the Cookton, of course. We do have rather a large amount of very heavy bombers over here, which is very useful indeed. So, I think that's that. We're going to keep an eye out, see if we can watch out for anything there. If we spotted a patrol over here, let's just bounce into this. Quite likely a small cruiser patrol going around Guadalcanal. We can't see anything just yet. Let's increase time. Yeah, looks like a very simple patrol over here. What have we got? So we have an Alba, and we have a Mogami escorted by a Kumanagara and a few destroyers. Not to worry there. We won't need to mark that up. That's just going around in this general area for us there. Waiting to see this though. What else we spot? That's exactly the same thing. Can we see where those fighters are coming from though? Might want to send them out more northerly to scout about. Yeah, we can see loads of scouts coming up with that cruiser task force. And that's okay, so they're sending in between these two areas here. Do you see those fighters? Rather interesting there. But we have made it back to the New Hebrides now with the hammer. We are going to rearm. Let's have a look at that. Where are we? I am forgetting where all the buttons are. Rearm. We're going to say about the New Orleans, of course. It's very sad to say goodbye, but it does have to happen there. How long do we have to wait for that? We have to wait 9 days. That's not too bad at all. We are going to have to replace that though, because we're quite lacking. I wouldn't mind perhaps another light cruiser in here as well. The Atlanta, while very good, doesn't always perform too well in stand-up slugging out engagements, as you probably would expect. So New Sea, we're going to go for Americans, and I've gone straight past it. We're going to go for, I think we're going to mix things up a little bit. We might go for a Wichita, because we very rarely see these things. Let's get that, and I think we're going to try for a light cruiser as well. We'll go for a Brooklyn, very standard. I do shy away from using Cleveland simply because they're rather expensive at 20 command points, and they burn through their ammunition very, very quickly indeed. So that's all very useful there. Let's merge this over here, like so. And we'll take just double check our formations. So they're on the 9 and 10 positions. It's not necessarily bad, actually. That gives us some good AA cover there. But I think it's a tad of a waste to have a destroyer at the number 3 position there. Very much like in the battle line option here. So what we're going to do is, where's the Atlanta at number 7? That's not bad, actually. I think we put the 3. We'll put it at the number 10 position for now, I think. We'll swap that around. And that's not so bad there at all. Just the more sonar coverage there, and possible torpedoes out as well. So, let's get going. We're going, I think, now, with this expedition, to try and hunt down a carrier. We're going to assume there's quite likely one, or even a large task force in the northern region over here. But we will, of course, have to scout out over here. So what we're going to do is, it's not currently daytime. We will send up more Beauforts, I think, and such, and send out things from Port Moresby if possible. We will want to upgrade these because, actually, rather weirdly, the AI has not made a move so far for the New Guinea bases. And previously, that was quite the target, wasn't it? I'll see about that, though. We don't have a lot of command points now, but we do get resupplied fully in a couple of days, and that's going to be great for a second task force out. Let's get going. Okay, so we have made it to our destination a couple of days later. We're on day 20 now. It is 5 in the morning. Air operations are now available. We have some Catalinas coming from Milne Bay to scout out the open waters in the Solomon Sea. We're carrying on with our scouts down to the south over here as well. In the previous day when we're approaching this position, there's a lot of fighters still about. So let's see what we can find today. Carry on. Might want to cover our gap down here, actually, while I think about that. We'll just send out some more scouts very quickly to our rear, like so. And we can see... Ooh, what is that? What is that? So let's go to tactical. That looks like a carrier. Where are you little shit? Come on. Oh, just about see something on the horizon there. What is this? That looks like a Kongo. Couple light cruisers. Let's get a closer look. We have a destroyer here. We have a light cruiser, of course. There's the Kongo. Another light cruiser. That's a Sendai. And we have a new type destroyer here. That's either a Yugamo, a Sashio, or a Kagero, or the Yak 3, of course, is what we're going to start calling them. Not to be confused with another thing. That's what we call a historian's joke, that. So we're going to mark that one up. And we're going to mark it as a battleship to make sure there's no confusion as to what that might be. But we could very likely take on that task force, I think. Our North Carolina, very, very useful and very capable of destroying that Kongo, as are our own heavy cruisers. We're going to chase that one down, I think, and try and force engagement there. But it did look like there was a supporting group to the rear of that. So we're going to have to be very, very wary. Send out some more scouts, I think, in that particular position. So let's do that while we think about it. Very well aimed scouts, I think. We'll just send this out for now. We're not going to put that on a repeated patrol because we might want to recall that and send that somewhere else in the future for more accurate scouting. So let's see where that moves to. Oh, it's coming right towards us there. Did you see that? That's absolutely fine. What we're going to do then is just double check our formation again. I am very much liking it. Let's just look at the convoy for now, because it's also very nice, very circular with some scouting destroyers. It's actually not too bad at all. So what I'm going to do is swap the Brooklyn to the number 4 position here, so that we get a scouting destroyer. And what else do we want to change? Perhaps 6 and 5 are all good. 1 and 2 is all good. 7 and 8 perhaps decent. Wichita's at number 3. I think we're all fine there, really. So we're going to try for the convoy. And that lets us split off into separate groups in a surface engagement. So we're going to just very, very slowly now try and advance here. This is a repeated patrol plane. We do have a few scouts available though, so we're going to send 1 scout out now, and we're going to play very, very slowly here. There we go, so that's where it is, and we have engaged. So we should have these 2 scout planes active in the battle. Let's get going. Alrighty, so where is the enemy? Right ahead of us, apparently. What is the distance over there? Because the report at the bottom doesn't tell us. That's 24 kilometers away. That's absolutely fine there. So we're going to try and instantly target that Kongo. Let's change our directions over here. We're going to spot, but hold off at the moment. We'll just get a solution up in a second. We are absolutely going to have to identify that Kongo if we do want a decent solution. Now, that's very easy indeed. Have we sunk one before? No, we haven't. That's rather interesting. We've definitely seen them about. Let's get the Northampton to fire on that as well. That can spot. We'll hold off for a minute though, because we don't want to use all of our ammunition just yet, do we? And we get all of our heavy cruisers on the Kongo. Hopefully we can get some plunging fire into its rather thin armour for its size. And we are certainly going to fire on one of these light cruisers. We can fire on the closer one to begin with. Let's hold off for now though. Get some AP out. What is the range of these guns? 23 and a half, so not quite in range there. Anyway, let's go to CL, and we'll identify that as a Kumus. Actually, we'll go for a Nagara. I think we went for a Kuma previously. Anyone's guess at this point. And we'll get our destroyers targeted to begin with here. Yeah, not quite in range. It looks like they're trying. That's likely for the scouts over here. We will identify this one though as a Sashio, I think, to begin with. And we'll focus fire with all of our destroyers on the leading one there. Not to worry. Get the Atlanta out onto the Nagara as well. Why not focus that? Neblack over here, Russell and Lang onto the one as well. What we can do is not push in too hard with our destroyers. We'll keep our Kingfisher about, but not too close. We'll do the same over here as well. And what we'll do is we will, I think we push up with Wichita and our heavier ships, of course. Bring the Russell round, I think. We can leave also fire flak on for the minute, actually. Bring that out. What we'll do is take the Ellet with it. If we move that into a certain order here, and they can line ahead. Excellent. We'll do the same with Lang and Mayo. Where is Mayo? Let's push that around. Line ahead. Full speed that for now. Move out. And we'll do the same with Russell as well. And Brooklyn, North Carolina, Northampton. We'll just bring the New Black around here. So we don't want these to get hit too much. I'll bring the Atlanta out as well. And once that's done, we'll form up and push forwards with our heavier ships, I think. Let's watch out for our North Carolina at the moment and such. Watch out for its solution. It is rising. Is the Kongo firing? I think it just has. But I do want a slightly heavier solution than in the 30s. It is rising. And there we go. So I think what I'm going to do is get a spotting. Actually, might not even need to spot right yet. Right now. It is really climbing that actually. Can we get something a little higher? Who needs spotting fire? We can do this. Yeah, that's absolutely fine. Let's fire out now then. And we should be fine with our heavy cruisers as well. Let's get going. Wichita, do the same. How are we going with the scouts? We're getting some flak out, aren't we? That's absolutely brilliant. We will need to keep our destroyers close, of course, because once the enemy does broadside, it is trying now, of course, it will get some torpedoes out. And we have learnt that lesson badly. This is actually Hatsuharu. Didn't see the gun over here. That's quite the tell sign over here. So I'm just going to change our position on that. Change our identification because that is actually not the misidentification there. How are we doing over here? The shots should be landing very soon. There we go. Very, very close indeed already. You see that very, very near miss indeed. Very near miss indeed. Should be getting some more shots very soon though. It looks like we did in fact down the enemy scouts, which is excellent. Just need to make sure ours doesn't get downed. It would be nice if we could use those to distract the enemy destroyer fire. And there's the Kongo shots going out now. So, what we're going to do with our heaviest ships here, we're going to move around with the New Black. We might want to form us up with the 10 and 6 over here. We'll bring the Atlanta around as well. Just make sure Russell and such will carry on over here. How's that stand in position with the whole fleet there? Yeah, okay, so let's get this up, increase its speed to about 30 knots. And I think we'll double check the solutions for everyone. Actually rather high, so we don't really need to carry on with spotting fire here. I think that's not too bad at all, really. I want to save some ammunition though, if we are going to keep missing like this. So we're going to, I think, actually keep this sort of position, really. I am rather liking that, to be honest. I like it quite a bit. Not too bad. So if we move, I think, to broadside here. I think we will actually go to spotting fire now because our solutions are decreasing a tad and I want to save a little bit of ammunition. Like so. Should be in range now with this, so let's get firing out. And the Atlanta as well, just to make sure. How are we with our destroyers? I'm not quite in range, but I will give them an order to fire just to get out there and get our guns trained on the enemy. Well, it's looking like the Kongo has taken rather a nasty hit on its back turret. So we did see an explosion. Doesn't look like it's deactivated the turret, the number 3. That's not to worry at all. Our solution is very high on the North Carolina over here. So we're going to take off spotting fire. Rather interesting though. Have lost a director. I can't remember if that's from previous battle. Quite likely is, to be honest. So that's quite the oversight. But we do still have one working director, and it's certainly doing the job there. But it is something to think about. What are we doing with our position over here? That is not at all what I've asked for. We're going to have to turn off evade hazards and give some individual orders here. So we'll carry on straight over here, reduce our speed quite low. Looks like we have taken a hit to the rear on our Northampton. Looks like that's probably what they're focusing. Give people some individual orders then. That's not to worry at all. What we can do is bring our Wichita over here. If I will just give that a general order to move first, disregard all of that, and move up over here with our Brooklyn to support our now advancing destroyers so that we can get range and so that we can in future hopefully look at detecting possible torpedoes. I'm loving the smoke billowing out on the flank of the Kongo though, but it is manoeuvring, which means most of our shots are going to miss, which is rather a shame. But how are we looking over here? We have avoided a collision by the looks of things, which is great. But I would now like to turn in a tad, get some maneuvers off once again, increase our speed, because these are very, very close shots, and any collateral at that distance between our ships will be very, very painful indeed. So we're going to stop turning quite so hard now with the North Cal, get that going straight, and we should be fine with the Wichita to do the same. Just making sure our ships over here do not collide once again. Might actually get the Brooklyn and Northampton into a line formation here, with the Brooklyn leading. That should be good there. But we can see the enemy is getting some very near misses, which is not great. But it doesn't look like we've taken any direct hits just yet, which is ideal. Are the enemy? It doesn't look like they've been firing off torpedoes so far. Certainly thinking about it. Getting a fair few hits onto this Kongo. If we do take a damage report, that is moderate to moderate. Heavy on the Lang, which is rather interesting. They must be looking at hitting that, are they? No, that is just previous damage by the looks of it. Nothing's actually been hit today. Looks like the Russell is taking hits though. So we're going to get these two destroyers onto smoke. Might think about actually, we should be in range. Let's double check our torpedo range once again. And we're certainly in range there, so we're going to start thinking about getting some torpedo shots off. That's all of our torpedoes. I think a 1 degree spread for now, simply because we're at a decent distance, and that will widen up as we go out. So we're going to fire ahead of the enemy, of course, here. And the Elliot can do the same once that's turned around. We'll go for a 2 degree spread on this one, though, to change things around, give them something to think about. So the Russell has fired off and had taken rather a nasty hit. So that's actually going to bring this down. We can take the Atlanta out of that formation and move up on a little closer. And we will fire off manually over here as well. We're going to assume they might turn in a tad. Make that a slightly narrower fire there. Let's take off the starboard side torpedoes here, because we don't want those turning around and hitting us later on. Disable that. And now I can tell them all to hold. Tell that to do the same. There we go, lovely stuff. So those two ships should be pulling out. Are we taking any more hits over here? Not so bad at the moment, but we'll tell those to recover, get rid of these fires, and then maybe re-engage. We will think about torpedoes with the Lang and Mayer, but we do need to watch out with our own courses over here. We might well hit our North Carolina and Wichita, which is now taking some shots. So I think we're okay at the moment, though. The range is getting, of course, a lot closer now, so we're going to hold off here and try and get some mangle shots onto this Kongo, which is now looking very battered. Look at that. That's absolutely brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. Once we get rid of this, we can largely shrug off the damage of the enemy light cruisers, I'd say. So How are we looking for the enemy destroyers, though? Not so bad. The Nagara is taking hits, actually. Let's take a damage report on to that. Where are we? Minus and minor. In fact, what is the solution looking like for that? Actually quite high, so it very likely is a Nagara rather than perhaps a Kuma. We are going to actually start making some sort of maneuvers with our Atlanta. We'll get it to circle around and join up over here for now. Because that's looking very nice indeed. Very nice indeed. Oh, massive fire. I actually just missed that onto the centre of the Nagara, which is excellent. North Carolina, we are holding off, so we're going to have to watch out for that. Go over to the Kongo. The speed is still 19 knots, so we're going to have to give that some lead over here with a decent range. So we're going to aim out over here, I think. And we'll hold off. Look at that very nice hit from something over there. That's actually going to decrease its speed there. Only a tiny amount for now, though. But look, that does have a very nice little list on that, doesn't it? Very nice little list indeed. Let's take away that UI so we can see what's coming in a little better over there. A lot of hits onto the engine parts of the superstructure. Looks like we just missed with our North Carolina there. But there's a massive fire billowing out from the front over here. And if we're very, very lucky, always naive and hopeful to think that that might just burn through to the magazine there. Going to fight out another shot there. Not quite so much lead. That is slowing down. And we'll adjust our aim there. How are we looking? The Russell is still on fire, of course. Not so bad, though. It's just the one on top of the bridge. And we'll watch this salvo come in, and then we'll look at our battleship and such, see how that's doing. Looks like we're getting some very nice central hits over here, and that's really slowing down to a crawl now. And we're just still straddling, which is excellent. And there we go, absolutely brilliant. So let's go back to the North Cow. Looks like we're on top of any damage there, which is great. Nagara, every time I move around, every bloody time I move the camera, we just miss a magazine explosion. So we're going to change our targets over here. We were firing at that with the Atlanta and the Brooklyn, weren't we? So we're going to stop on that. And I think we're actually going to start firing onto the Hatsa-Hari with our Atlanta, simply because that's rather close and that will start threatening our destroyers. I think that's where the damage is coming from, of course. And we're going to start curling around with these destroyers now that we're getting on top of that damage. Where is the Brooklyn? That's over here. We're going to start firing, I think, onto the Sendai over here, because that's the next biggest threat. Let's fire some AP, and we will certainly identify that properly. Sendai there. And we're neglecting our secondaries, which is rather silly. Very, very silly indeed. Let's fire out over here. Righty, did we start firing out again with this? No, we did not. That's looking very, very slow indeed now, isn't it? Very, very slow indeed. Start firing over here. That will just keep firing us automatically there now. Just trying to gauge whether the guns are still firing here. It's looking like they're all inactive for now, so we might want to start changing our targets with our heavy cruisers, perhaps to the Sendai. Just give that a second to see if that really is firing out at all. Doesn't look it, but they could always come back online, couldn't they, those guns? I think that's pretty much a done deal with the Kongo. Just need to keep battering that until it does eventually succumb. Well, after quite a while, after sinking those last few ships in that battle, we did decide to pull away, and that is just out of concern for our ammunition. Don't want to run low just on that one engagement. Unfortunately, we didn't manage to bag that Nagara, which is rather unlucky. That did take the magazine explosion, of course. That's basically out of action, but did not succumb to its flooding and fire, get scuttled. And we do, of course, have that Yugamo about still on moderates and moderates, but not to worry. Very nice little win there, packed up a Kongo, and we did get some lovely 9 command points as well without taking too much damage in return, which is always a good trade. Let's just review some of our ammunition. Not doing too badly, just the Wichita's HE, but not to worry there. So we're going to carry on. We're going to come down to westwards over here, and I think really that'll be it for today, guys. It is unfortunately we have time for, but it's nice to be back. Please do leave your feedback in the comments section below. I hope you have enjoyed the video, but I shall be seeing you in the future. More to come this week. May all of your nights and days be auspicious. Goodbye.